Anybody home?
What kind of party is this, anyway?
A very strange party, if you'll pardon the expression.
Radio General Urko.
Yes, sir, but that's not what's so peculiar.
Put it on the bridge speakers, Lieutenant. Pay more attention.
DJ
7L.
I thought it might be static, but not on every channel. Tend to sound like...
Holy Mountain Printing Podcast.
We don't take orders from super fools. We give them.
The Science Ninja Team is here.
I swear they landed right there on the other side of the hill.
Hear me and hear me.
Wait a minute, what's that?
I demand an explanation.
Look at that one, bigger than the rest. He looks like...
Invasion by creatures from space confirmed. New York City may be the next objective.
Yes, stop.
And get out of here.
What is it, Lieutenant?
I'm getting some very strange reports from sick bay level.
In what way strange?
Holy Mountain Printing Podcast.
Listen to this.
Welcome to the Holy Mountain Printing Podcast.
All right, we are here with our friend Ben Roberts, who works at Acme Comics in Greensboro, a place that we like to go and buy comics and shop at. Fantastic fucking store. And the one of the writers on this magnificent comic, Children of the Grave, which is 5 total issues and it's done, right?
5 total issues.
Okay, and they're all out. So you can get them all right now. So, and we carry this comic here. So if you're listening to this and you decide you want to read this wonderfully titled comic, you can go to our store and buy all 5 issues, which is how you should buy them, and read them all in one shot. So, obviously, the title. What was?
I mean, it's
obvious.
It's an obvious Sabbath reference. I don't know, man.
Is it playing deeper into what you feel the tone of the comic?
Yeah, definitely.
Is? So, that's what I wanted.
I don't even know if it was purposeful.
Yeah.
But I was like, try to build soundtracks to anything I write. Was listening to that song like day one. My co-writer Sam Romsberg, he came up with the idea. We started talking about it, and I was like, "Fuck it, let's just get started." Neither of us really know what we're doing. And that came on in the background. I was like, "This is the title of the book," because I was listening to the lyrics and it fits. And the Sabbath lyrics play a little part in the first issue, and then we wrap it back around to where that song, kind of without trying, kind of summed up what the book was about.
That's awesome. I've only read issues 1 through 3, so I did see the beginning reference in the first issue, and now that you've brought the other issues, I'm gonna finish this up. But so I'm excited to finish this book. But so did you do anything before this? Because you said you guys don't know what you're doing. Is this you guys' first stab at something like this?
He did like this Western series that was put up by a very small company called Among the Willows. That kind of fizzled out. I used to do a podcast about comics called Punks and Panels. It kind of fizzled out too. But I've known Sam. We grew up touring together in bands. And he was like, "Yo, let me just hit you with an idea. Tell me what you think about it." I was like, I like this. We started building off of it. But yeah, it's the first thing I've ever done. I mean, I've always written for bands. Went to film school for a little bit trying to do that. Yeah. I wanted to write. And this is just kind of like, I was like, why have I never tried to do a comic?
Yeah.
Like it makes sense. I've read comics my entire life.
Right.
I should just do this. I work in a comic shop. I should just do this. Yeah. And then our artist, Joele Filippo, he's based out of Italy. He is a graduate of the Padova School of Comic Arts. And this is his first comic too.
That's awesome.
Like his first full...
I was going to ask you to say his name because I did not want to...
I don't know if I'm saying it right.
Butcher it or...
We've never spoken.
Oh.
We've texted, we've emailed, we've never spoken. So I'm not sure if I'm saying it.
That's amazing. We work with a ton of artists like that, where it's like that amazing bridge all over the world where you get to work with people that you'll never lay eyes on. Like we work with this Brazilian artist named Hugo Silva, who at this point is my friend. Like, you know, we write each other like friends, you know, like I get called brother by him all the time. Like we're tight. Like, and I've never, you know, other than seeing him on the internet, I've never laid eyes on this guy.
He would throw like Italian slang at us, and I just like adopted it.
There's
this word that's like Gaysboro.
Yeah.
And it like loosely translates to like fuck that.
Fuck. What is it again?
Gaysboro. And someone might be like, that's not what that is. But
Right.
I don't fucking know.
Hey, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
It now is, and we'll adopt it here too. But so you guys, how did you end up doing this with Scout?
Well, we did the first issue and like straight up like DIY, like paid out of pocket. Whole thing was paid out of pocket, but we were gonna do it no matter what. We were gonna just self-finance it, and I was just gonna call comic book stores and be like, "Hey, I will drive these books to you. Will you sell them in your store?" Because I didn't know any other way to do it. We started pitching places. You know, we pitched everywhere. Big companies, some of the bigger independent publishers got turned down, and Scout Comics just happened to say yes, gave us a shot, and they've been pretty cool to work with.
That's awesome. Was there anybody else with any interest, or was this the one? Like,
Sean Makowicz from Skybound Image Comics, he read the entire first issue and he said it was genuinely horrifying.
Oh.
The last panel was, he's like, that's
awesome.
That's pretty gross.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'll take it. So,
yeah, that's an awesome fucking phrase.
Just I think that's all it is trying to figure out and meet the right people and build.
Yeah. So this is done? You're not you no plans to continue this?
No, I this was like my first thing, and I think we really wanted Children of the Grave to like mean something and like be a thing,
right?
And I almost burnt myself out super hard trying to make sure that it like there was metaphors, like everything worked to where now I want to write like fun comic.
I got you.
I just want to write like batshit crazy shit.
Right.
And the next thing that we're doing with a different artist is like every like fucked up crazy idea we threw at the wall, we're like, that's in there now. That's
awesome. Now. That's awesome. So what I guess for people listening and watching, like if they were considering buying this, would you give us like a little premise?
Yeah,
like what's the basic premise? It's like somebody up to want this.
Yeah, Children of the Grave, it's takes place 30 years into our future where something's happened and there's like just a few people that are left on this earth and no one's older than the age of 30. And you kind of see that they live in this community where everything is taken care of, almost idyllic. Food just kind of, you don't have to put a lot of work into like growing crops. New children just show up. And like our main character, Daniel, he keeps leaving and finding remnants of our world, like movies, magazines, like any little bits and pieces he can scavenge together. And it's like something happened. Like what the world that I've been told my entire life isn't the real world. Something happened here. And something really fucked up and gross and horrible happened to the people that were once there. And that's me trying not to give it away. It's hard to not give it all away because I feel like the twist is what sells it. And he starts uncovering that, and maybe that fucked up thing's coming back.
I think that's super relevant to our actual real world. As I read it, I feel very much connected to him discovering like what the world really is like, as opposed to the idyllic version.
And I think the age we placed him at, like if you grew up maybe into like punk, hardcore, something alternative, you're like, oh, I kind of get that mentality.
For sure. Hey, I didn't mention that, but you're right. That's the part that's like being someone that grew up in punk and hardcore and that question everything.
For sure.
And yeah, this is wonderful. And then I also love the way it built. Like it keeps opening up. Like I've only gotten, like I said, because I only had the first 3 issues till you got here. I love the way each issue just gets a little bigger. You get like a wider view of everything. Like issue 1 was very like small, and it's just like growing.
And I think, I don't know, if I could go back and do it all again, maybe change certain things, but I like that it's that slow build.
Oh, I do too. That was definitely
some comic readers don't want that. They want you to like hit them with it page 1. But yeah, that was the goal.
No, I thought that was
slowly unravel this thing.
Because it's like issue 1, you get a, but then it ends and you're like, oh shit, and then it gets a little bigger and the world keeps getting a little bigger, and I think that was fucking great. So, well, if you like anything that we like here, you should like this, because this is amazing. I mean, it's a fucking comic named after a Black Sabbath song. Come on. So before we get into the next part of this, since I've gotten tons of heat for being the dick that says this publicly over and over again, Ozzy or Dio, who is the better Sabbath frontman?
All right, so this is I'm interested to see what you think, because when I was a kid, Ozzy, and maybe like the past 5 years, man, I love Mob Rule.
Yeah.
I think I love Dio Sabbath.
I get tons of shit for it because I'll post it and be like the preferred Sabbath frontman, and then I get flooded with people who are like, you're
Sabotage is my favorite Sabbath album, obviously.
I think people have taken my comments on this and skewed it as like I don't like Ozzy.
No,
and I fucking love Ozzy.
But I like solo Ozzy more than I like Ozzy and Sabbath. And I think I like Dio. And I think it's like a thing. Like, you got to grow up into that. That's like a mature.
I think so too. I also have come to kind of realize that if you are... Like, I grew up more into metal and then found my way to punk.
Okay.
And so Dio fits me better. Like, I'm primed.
Opposite.
Okay. So that I found people that like, most people I feel like that are like, no, Ozzy, they tend to be like punk rock types.
It's fair.
Because I think Ozzy's voice lends itself more to that spectrum of music, whereas Dio is you got to be a metal guy to like Dio. He's as metal as it gets.
More epic sounding metal. Yeah, for sure.
And then, I think the last one I posted where I got tons of heat was the double live album with Dio singing, and I was like, Dio sings Children of the Grave better than Ozzy sings it. Good. It's fucking great, right? So yeah, I think I agree. Garrett that works in our shop was the same way. He was like, no, Ozzy. And then one day he was like, you know what? It's Dio. He's better. He's a better fucking singer. And
it is. Yeah. And he is a better singer. Yeah,
he's a better singer and a better front man. And and it's not to take anything away from Ozzy.
I've never seen Ozzy. I've never seen Sabbath. I've never, but even watching old videos when that dude was not doing well, it would have bummed me so much. Me out so much to pay all this fucking money to see Ozzy, and he's just like, just not there, wandering back and forth across. It would have bummed me out.
Right, for sure. And I doubt that Dio ever let anyone down.
Exactly.
It doesn't seem like the type.
Exactly.
So. That was one of the things I immediately thought. I was like, I wonder. I mean, obviously he's a fucking Sabbath guy.
It took me a long time to like come to that, to admit that. But yeah, for sure.
Well, then Joel's girlfriend called me out publicly. I posted one of my Ozzy records, and she was like, "You hate Ozzy," and I was like, "I don't hate Ozzy. I fucking love Ozzy." I've never said that. Like, where did you get this?
But yeah, solo Ozzy's the best.
Solo Ozzy is the fucking best. Yeah,
even later stuff like 90s Ozzy's awesome.
Yeah. The stuff he did with Zakk Wylde, I loved. Fuck. Oh God. Who played on The Ultimate Sin? My brain just shut down.
I can't remember too. I was going to say the same
thing. He's actually my favorite, and I'm so embarrassed right now that I can't remember his fucking name.
Ultimate Sin's awesome.
Jakey Lee.
That is what it is.
Jakey Lee is. That's hands down. That's my favorite Ozzy guitarist, and I'm embarrassed as fuck. Actually, I want Joel to cut that fucking out. Joel, cut that out. I'm embarrassed I didn't remember Jakey Lee's fucking name. Or you can leave it in. I don't actually give a shit. But yeah, I don't know what it is. That dude's playing on that record is fucking amazing. But okay, we'll move on.
Sure.
So we did this with David Moses. This is something we're going to keep doing, but we're bringing, fellow comic guys in, and we go to our favorite local shop, Foundation's Edge. I pick stuff, guests pick stuff, and then we talk about what we picked and why we picked it. And so, again, Foundation's Edge in Raleigh. If you're from here or not from here, if you're not from here, you should travel here and go. It is the most phenomenal comic store I can fucking think of. And you were just there.
They got about everything.
Yeah. It's crazy. And I always refer to it as an archaeological dig more than a comic shop.
For sure.
Yeah.
You got to work for it a little bit harder.
Oh, yeah.
But I think that's part of the comic book store thing.
I like to go there when I've got hours to kill and just show up with a coffee and hunker down and just with no agenda. Just I'm going to dig through here and see what the fuck I find. And I've had like days where I come out of there with stuff, where didn't go there with an agenda, and I left with things I was thrilled to find. So, and I mean, what can beat standing in a room, digging through rotting paper and that wonderful fucking smell, which I have said before, I wish someone would bottle and I could dab behind my ears every fucking morning. So let's you start. What did you, what's your first pick?
I went through, like, you know, I'm a little like privileged getting to work in a comic book store.
Yeah.
I get to see a lot of cool stuff come in, have my first dibs on a lot of stuff. Sold off a lot of my collection to, you know, finance getting that made, getting other projects made. But yeah, I was trying to think of stuff that I really, really like, or some stuff I might not be able to find moving forward. But I'm going to start with Cosmic Odyssey. I love Mike Mignola, like, hands down. You know, as a kid, loved comics, loved like superhero stuff, and then fell out of comics completely, got into skateboarding, got into music. And then when I got back into comics, Hellboy was the thing. And I love Hellboy, and I love how his art changes over time, but early Mignola is awesome. It's kind of unlike anything else. The guy Foundation said referred to it as chunky dark side, but he kind of nails, especially in this, like, I would say this is the successor to, this is like the next great New Gods story. The Justice League kind of dealing with them. You've got Ambush Bug, Orion. This is awesome. Batman hunting down, like, that panel's awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing.
He's hunting down these demons in the sewers of Gotham. It's awesome. And it gets super wacky. It's really ridiculous. Like, I think they have to go to, like, they're on New Genesis, and that's an awesome page. You know, John Stewart lets a planet die, and, like, that's a thing that John Stewart has carried with him until now in comics. He's still dealing with the fact that he let this planet die. And one thing that really bums me out is DC doesn't seem to have any, they don't really want to keep this story in print. It's become super hard to find over the years. There's a few hardcovers that have been re-released, but it's not something they keep in print, and I love it. Jim Starlin, script, who did my other favorite Batman story with Bernie Wright's and Batman the Coal.
Oh, awesome. I've never read this, and I definitely
I
saw it in your stack, and I was like, I love Mike Mignola.
It's the next, like, if you like New Gods Kirby stuff,
I do.
This is the next thing. Yeah, this is awesome.
Kirby is
the most true to Kirby wackiness that you get. You know, Darkseid hunting down the anti-life equation on Earth. I think it was 2 books. Etrigan's in it. Etrigan's one of my favorite characters of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's awesome. Yeah.
That's awesome. I'll have to find a copy of that. I also think it's interesting too. I had a similar moment with David Moses but yours and I is way closer, because David and I both left comics for a while. Like, I was, like, obsessed with comics, and then where David and I diverged is that, you know, he went off into whatever, and I went into skateboarding. So I feel even closer on you, because man, I got a skateboard, and I never stopped liking comics. I still liked them. Absolutely. I just had no time for them. Like,
yeah, I mean, I would say from the age of I get skateboard, like 12 years old.
Yeah.
12 until, like, I mean, I fucking broke both my arms, like, skateboarding, like, it, and I was like, I'm back on it. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I mean, that literally, best thing about skateboarding is completely rewires the way your brain thinks. And, like, you're different.
At this age, look at everything as a skate spot.
Absolutely.
Like, nothing's changed. And I can't skate for shit anymore. I mean, still do, but I can't skate for shit. I'm 47. Yeah. I just push around and fucking get by. But I still, like, you drive by it and you're like, oh, you see it, like, you see everything as a skate spot, right? But yeah, I thought that was, when you just said that, I was like, that's amazing. Because that is the same thing. Like, around, I would say 11 or 12, I got my first board. And I didn't come back to comics until I was, like, 30.
Okay.
And, like, because and in there, that was until, like, my, I'd say 25. From leaving comics, it was skateboards until, like, 25 or so. And that's kind of where, in the interim there, I started working with bands and touring, and skating started to peter back off, and I wasn't doing it as much. And then I wasn't very good, and then I was frustrated, and then it, you know.
For sure.
I'm super happy at this point in my life, though, because I was always all in. Like, I was all into comics, and then it was all into skateboards, and it was like, I'm finally at a point where I can be like, into comics and I can go skateboarding and I can collect records and I don't have to be like obsessively into one thing.
Yeah, that's the coolest thing about getting older is like all those things can exist.
Right, they can all, instead of being like, because youthful exuberance, you're crazy.
Yeah,
you're like,
absolutely.
I can't do anything but this.
Yeah.
So awesome. Well, my first pick is one I never read, and I'm actually super excited to read because I fucking love Grendel. Of course, I love Batman. I love Matt Wagner, and I've read Devil's Mask and Devil's Riddle, and I stumbled on this Devil's Bone and Devil's Dance. And just as a Grendel fan and a Batman fan and a huge Matt Wagner fan, I can't wait to get into that. And I leafed through it in the store. It's beautiful. Matt Wagner did the art and the story, and it's just super fucking beautiful looking. Grendel looks badass as fuck. But I got into Grendel when I was a kid because I was reading Robotech, and at the time the Panda Brothers era of Grendel with Christine Spar was coming out on Comico, which is the same company that did Robotech. Yeah. And as a Robotech fan, it was like a quick, well, I want to read whatever this other, it's why I read Elementals. I read that. But never stopped loving Grendel. Such a cool, kind of terrifying looking character. It's just like a badass design, and Matt Wagner's art's always thrilled me. So that would be my pick. So what you
next thing
next?
I did, modern book, but man, fuck, I love Nameless. I'm not the biggest Grant Morrison fan. I feel like Grant Morrison's one of those people. He's like, people who don't read comics kind of know who Grant Morrison is. He gets introduced. He's like the modern day Alan Moore. But Nameless is awesome. I think largely it's due to Chris Burnham's art. Chris Burnham is a madman with the stuff he draws. This is like a psycho. There's an asteroid headed towards Earth. And so what they do is the U.S. government calls on not just astronauts, and it's causing things to just go fucking nuts on Earth. Like people are just like gutting people. It's like thrown everything off. And so they hire like occultists and paranormal investigators to fly into space because this asteroid hurtling towards Earth has this insignia written on it. And it gets wild. I would say the only thing I know to compare it to is Event Horizon.
Oh, okay.
All the stuff that you saw that you like, Event Horizon kind of sucks, but there's those bits and pieces where you see like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
That's what this book is.
Yeah, I remember when Event Horizon was coming out and Fangoria did a spotlight on it, and it showed stills of those like terrifying moments. And I remember I was like, I cannot wait to see this fucking movie because
you want to see Hellraiser in space.
Yeah, that's exactly what I don't think it would be as harsh to say it sucks. I actually really like Event Horizon, but it doesn't live up to what
it doesn't. You
what
see those
thought.
bits and you're like, that's what I want more of. But
then when you actually see the movie, it's just like, boop, it's gone.
That's what this book is. Like the later issues get so insane, and and the story kind of unravels, and they like destructure the panels to make it really chaotic for you as a reader. And what it is, Morrison took a lot of like, and I don't own this in issues. I might get it in issues. Thought about buying original art from this story. I love it so much. Where he used a lot of like, he didn't want to do like Lovecraft stuff, so he used like actual Mayan and these maybe like primitive societies, their view of like the supernatural and what was going on in space to create the asteroid Xibalba. And of course, I was into hardcore, and I was I want to read about the asteroid Xibalba.
Yeah, for sure. Holy shit! Well, that looks.
It
awesome.
gets wild. It gets really wild.
Like I told you when we were in the store, my friend Sequoia has suggested this to me on numerous occasions, and I haven't read it.
I was kind of surprised, man. I feel like it'd be so up your alley.
Yeah, he actually gave me I think I have all the issues of this that he gave me, and I just never read it, and I don't know why. Like I don't even know that I cracked it. I think I don't know why, because usually his suggestions carry a lot of weight for me, and I'm like, yes. I don't. So now I've got two, so I have to go read this. Awesome. My first comic back into reading comics was Grant Morrison's Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
So like
that would have been about the same time that I was
so fucking weird
in.
that that time frame is amazing.
I think it was Frank Quitely art.
Yep.
I love Frank Quitely.
Me too. I would say I'm not either. I wouldn't say I'm a Grant Morrison guy either. It was Frank Quitely's art that made
That's
me
what
buy
it was.
the book.
Yeah.
So and not that. Because David asked me like, what is it about Grant Morrison? I was like, I actually don't know. I only read one thing.
Yeah.
And then, but it was good. And Frank Quitely's art was what really spoke to me. But, well, my next pick is I grabbed Mighty Thor 363, and I actually haven't read this yet, but I've been working through the Simonson omnibus that they just put out, which is fucking amazing. I just got to the end of the first Beta Ray Bill story in there. And I've flipped past this issue a million times in Foundation's Edge, and today I was like, you know what, I'm going to grab this just because this dude is terrifying. And I realized and it's, Walt Simonson art and story, and I realized in the store as well that this ends with, Thor being turned into the frog, which is, it seemed like a fun issue to have around, but mostly I grabbed it for, the art and for, Curse is terrifying looking. That's a great design. I love everything about it. And I was like, fuck it, I'm going to go ahead and grab this, even though I haven't read up to this issue yet.
Next thing, I found out about this recently. Someone brought in a bunch of Predator comics to where I work. And some of the Dark Horse Predator stuff, the older stuff, is awesome. It's Predator Race War. And you're like, I don't know about that. But it's basically Predator, one of them comes to Earth and gets stuck in a prison that is in the midst of a riot. And it's just ridiculous. It's the most oversaturated 80s nonsense. And some of the art on just this older Predator comics is exactly what you want. I'm almost hesitant to think about the new Predator comic that'll come out from Marvel or anything modern because...
Hopefully it's not as bad as the Alien comic they did, which was a piece of shit.
I hate Salvador LaRocca. I don't care.
The art in there is fucking
this is
atrocious.
this is what you want that stuff to look
great.
like.
Yeah.
You want it to look like
right.
80s, flat colors, real wild, gory shit. But yeah.
Yeah, no, the minute when I asked you what this was in the store, I was intrigued.
That is an awesome last page. You're just hanging over that guy,
that's
covered in blood,
amazing.
ripped his skull out. That's sick. That's sick.
No, the premise for this is amazing. You said it to me in the store, and I was like, I want to read that. That sounds fucking great. So my next pick was it's issue 98 of the Defenders, and I haven't read the Defenders straight through. I have just a lot of random issues, but I love the Defenders mostly because I love Doctor Strange. But the real reason I bought this one is David Moses, if you're listening, I found another great pattern in the fucking Defenders logo, and we're going to have to fucking use that. So, David Moses, look at that. We're going to grab that. And I did note that this was written by J.M. DeMatteis, who did Doctor Strange's Into Shambhala, which I fucking love. So that's reason enough to want to read that and that wonderful pattern in there. And, this hypnotic, fucking terrifying man thing. There's so much going for this. Not reading it seemed stupid. And then immediately grabbed. And Joel saw it over his shoulder as I pulled it out and was like, whoa, that logo looks awesome. So, again, all reasons enough to grab it.
Next thing, Daredevil 232. It's in the midst of the Miller Mazzucchelli run. I think everyone loves Frank Miller. You read Frank Miller for the first time, and you're like, this, just more. Give me more of this. Especially with David Mazzucchelli on art. But yeah, this is, I think the first time, this is maybe not first Nuke, but it's first Nuke versus Daredevil. And if you don't know who Nuke is, I think Nuke is the most, Marvel's not going to bring back Nuke and use him right now, but he's basically a renegade, just bullshit, piece of shit soldier. With the American flag painted on his face. Basically another defunct super soldier program gone wrong. But Mazzucchelli's art is great, and like if you go back and read like any of the Miller Daredevil stuff, Born Again with Ramita, Man Without Fear stuff, that's like people talk about how Daredevil is just like this upper echelon of comic books. It always is.
It is. Daredevil is without a doubt my favorite comic character across the board, and the Miller and the Ramita stuff is fucking amazing. The Man Without Fear stuff is amazing. I loved I don't know if you read it, the Daredevil Reborn, that like kind of went from Shadowlands into the Mark Waid run where he like walked off.
I like hated Shadowlands so much that I would have missed all of that. Like the Marvel Knight stuff, just like they got to Shadowlands, I was like, oh man, this is
you
not
should
good.
You should read Daredevil Reborn though, because like my sell on it is, it's like, did you watch the old show Kung Fu, like the David Carradine show?
I know enough about it.
It's very much like
they really like
he like stuff. Yeah, he just like is broken and he just walks away. Like, and it ties in to when Black Panther takes over.
Cool. That is awesome.
Is fucking amazing.
That is the best when people come in the store and like, what's a Black Panther story?
That's
and I'm
the
like,
one.
that's the one I want to show you, because you're gonna be like, fuck, this is badass.
Yes. It's such a perfect time too, because it's like Matt Murdock is going off to find himself, and T'Challa's coming to find him. You know, like, and they trade places to like, you know, like find the essence of who they are and what they're made of. And
that is awesome.
So you should definitely read Daredevil Reborn. I fucking loved it. It was one of the, I would say after the Batman and Robin stuff, it was the next comic when I came back that really made me just fucking stoked.
Cool.
And it was perfect because it went from that into the Mark Waid Daredevil stuff, which is super
great.
fun.
Yeah.
It's super, all of that's like incredibly fun. But so my next pick is another Thor book, 308, and I haven't read this, but this, you know, unnamed snow giant on the cover that he fights is in an Avengers book, and I bought this basically so I can go home, and because I can't remember and I couldn't fucking Google it in the store, but there is an Avengers book where the Avengers fight basically this snow giant and a fire giant that looks almost identical to him but made out of fire. And I was like, well, I want to go home and find that Avengers book and put these things together, and because he's awesome design too. He's a cool looking character, and that was the thing that grabbed me in that. It was a really old Avengers book. But yeah, him and the fire version of him were fucking incredible looking characters. I don't know why I can't remember the issue off the top, but this is like kind of the era of comics too that really fucking like tickles my fancy, because like this is the shit that this is kind of like from what I was finding as a little kid,
For
like
sure.
digging in flea markets with my grandfather. And this is Doug Munch and Keith Pollard too.
Yeah.
So this is like, you know, look at this. It's fucking beautiful. But yeah, this era of comics really grabs me. And this book also smells wonderful.
Yeah, it's got that smell that you're talking about.
Right. Like seriously, somebody fucking create that and bottle it, and I'll buy all of it.
Next thing I've got is Batman Aliens, Ron Mars, Bernie Wrightson. I got this because of the same reason, Marvel having Aliens, Disney now owning everything, owning Fox Aliens properties. I'll probably never see this again. That stuff's going to get harder and harder to find. People are not going to sell their issues of it. And as I feel like a lot of people are, I'm a sucker for all Bernie Wrightson, everything. Definitely a master of just the craft of making comics. This is the first part of that series. They went on to do a lot of Batman Alien stuff, Batman Predator stuff, but this stuff is super cool. I love Wrightson. I've talked with other people before, and other people have said to me, Wrightson used to be pretty common at conventions, and I would have been younger and not known really who he was or how legendary he was, and it really upsets me that I never, bought a bunch of stuff from Bernie Wrightson at a table.
That cover is amazing.
It's a good cover.
The split looks like perfectly fucking executed. I mean, they look so fucking cool. That definitely was another one where I saw you grabbed it, and I was like, I've never seen that, and I want to fucking read that. So, and I agree, Bernie Wrightson is the absolute fucking shit. So, my next pick is actually going to be, we're going to do a giveaway, and I'll slide these over, and we'll slide these in. But I love Kevin Smith's Green Arrow, and full disclosure, I actually wanted to pull together the Longbow Hunter issues, and that was going to be my giveaway because this is great with the Longbow Hunter story.
That's the really good stuff.
Yeah, but obviously the Kevin Smith run that's more obviously famous is Quiver, but what takes place after Quiver I think is fucking phenomenal and a ton of fun, and Kevin Smith's a great writer and fun writer and makes for fun comics, and so I have these, so we're gonna do this as a giveaway. So, I don't know exactly what we're going to do, but at the time that this podcast is, as you're listening to it, there's going to be a giveaway going where we're going to pick a winner and give these Green Arrows away. And, it's the art by Phil Hester is amazing. The villain is Onomatopoeia, which is just like this really fucking fun and kind of fucking terrifying character. The art in here is fucking great, and, kind of fits the mood of this more like fun comic, and definitely has some gross moments with people being offed by onomatopoeia, but this was a ton of fun, and I actually found myself enjoying it just as much as Quiver, if not maybe even a little more in some ways. But that's my other pick. We'll figure out. Joel over here that you can't see, with his beard and his headphones, is going to figure out a way to get this stack of Green Arrow comics to somebody. So,
other thing that I got, this actually only came out a couple weeks ago, but I would have missed it. I actually had a copy. Someone wanted it at work, sold them my copy. But it comes from out of Portland, Floating World Comics. They do a lot of cool stuff. They do Zarit's Night Hunter stuff, it in print. This is Shaky Kane, Crime Destroyer. And it's super goofy, but true till death in the first couple pages. Shaky Kane is a pretty prominent indie artist, but he's fighting a group called the Pilgrims, a Puritan punk gang. They're wearing Strife and Trial and Earth Crisis shirts. And the whole issue is about they're a bunch of dickhead straight edge kids.
This guy is the best.
And they're crashing a rally, and he just explodes through him, and the guy just explodes into fucking mess. And it's super goofy, indie comics making fun of, big name superhero stuff, but it's super fun.
As a dickhead straight edge kid, you have spoken to me with this.
Yeah. No, it's sick. Shaky Kane is awesome.
This looks awesome. Another one, you picked all shit that I now want to fucking go get, because that looks great. And again, you sold me at Dickhead Straight Edge Kid. I'm the captain of Team Dickhead Straight Edge Kids, putting out an Earth Crisis record this year. So my next pick is also going to be a part of it's a giveaway. I am a fucking massive ROM fan. This is a 2-part 17 and 18. Beautiful cover. These is a 2-part ROM story with the X-Men in it. So for everybody that thinks I'm lame for liking ROM, you get the X-Men. Everybody likes the X-Men. But this is you got Sal Buscema art, Bill Mantlo writing. I mean, beautiful comic. I love ROM. If you don't, I'll be honest, there's something wrong with you. And then ROM and the X-Men, that's a fucking home run. So
I'm completely ignorant to ROM. That would have been not on my radar.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely not as a toy. Did they do a Marvel comic series before the toy was released, or vice versa?
They did it. I think the toy came out first, and then they did the comic series. But they were done. It was supposed to be in conjunction.
Okay.
So, they were advertising the toy. It had to be really close because they were advertising the toy in the first, issues of ROM.
Okay.
The series outlasted the toy. The toy, I don't know why we haven't already pulled my dude out.
I've seen commercials, we've played it at work, and they're like, "You don't know about ROM?"
Yeah.
And I'm like,
ROM is the fucking greatest. and you're looking at it right now, and you're like, "You're lying. ROM sucks." But I'm telling you, ROM is the fucking greatest. I had this toy as a kid, and he was just he was my favorite toy, hands down. Programmable, for the technology for the time is pretty crazy, because he's got 2 triggers on his back, and so it's like, depending on how many of each one you do, you set off different electronic cues. So like he lights up, you can do a certain number and the gun works, a certain number and he starts, doing this weird heavy breathing that's supposed to be his like breathing apparatus. So he's got a bunch of cool little features, and as a kid I thought he was the most unbelievably technologically advanced,
that's sick,
fantastic thing in the whole world. Sequoia, who works at Capitol Comics and likes to be my arch rival on the ROM debate, and I guess does not like ROM. So if you're listening, Sequoia, here he is. It's your nemesis, ROM. But the toy never had a backstory. So the comic's backstory is Marvel's. It's very it's like they made up the whole backstory. Like when you got the toy, it came with no backstory. He just was Rom the Space Knight. So and the universe that they create, and then the tying it in. I mean, they tie him in with Luke Cage and Iron Fist. They tie him in with the X-Men, obviously in front of me, which we're going to do this giveaway for. They tie him in with Master of Kung Fu. There's a 2-issue series that I actually wanted to get for this giveaway, but they didn't have that, so the runner-up was the X-Men one. My favorite one is a 2-issue arc where Rom has to deal with Galactus, and it's fucking beautiful. The covers are beautiful, the interiors are beautiful, the story is amazing because it's Rom tricking Galactus to save Galador. I was a huge fan and still am, and we did in issue 1 of our magazine, as you've seen, remember. And anybody out there, if you haven't picked it up, we still have copies. But we did 7 or 8 pages, Joel, on Rom. We did a crazy, extensive, ridiculous piece on Rom. We have Esoteric from Czarface talking about his love for Rom. DJ Scheme Richards on there talking about Rom. Who else was in that one? Oh, that's right. Chris Ryle, former president of IDW, and then yours truly. That's one of the ones I did, and because I wasn't supposed to be in it, and then one day I got an email from Brockton who wrote it with a list of questions, and I wrote him, and I was like, "What the fuck do I have the questions for?" And he was like, "You told me to interview the biggest Rom fans." He was like, "You're obviously on the fucking list," and I was like, "All right, I'll fucking answer these questions." So the other part of this that is not part of the giveaway that I'm keeping is this Marvel Age, which has an article on Rom, and I was just like, the cover's beautiful, and an article on Rom sounds great, and they said Romifications, the future Romifications.
You got Rom in the forebush, man.
Yeah, look at this. So this one is not part of the giveaway. I'm keeping this one. Sorry. So what's your
last thing I got? I love the bootleg. They're unauthorized autobiographies, and I think they got in a lot of trouble. Rock and Roll Comics, but Public Enemy, 2 Live Crew. I've tried to pick these up if I find a good one, like Metallica. They did Kiss. I think there's a Ramones one. But these are super really lowbrow. Art's pretty good for what it is. Autobiographies of just different artists. This shit's cool. Really getting them for the covers. They usually have some funny, almost Mad Magazine style. I don't know if this it's having a double one, but I know the Metallica one has really just, they're just dunking. Oh, Queensryche. Oh my god. But awesome covers just for the goofiest thing.
Dude, that cover is amazing.
That's an awesome cover.
Yeah, for sure. And worth getting Public Enemy and 2 Live Crew, both incredible. Public Enemy, I've cited time and time again as life-changing for me. For sure. That was hearing Public Enemy for the first time, pivotal moment. I literally would say everything changed. And I was fortunate enough to get to interview Chuck D once, which took the more courage than I've ever had to actually go through with doing something, because I was so intimidated to call this man that changed my fucking life.
Absolutely.
And I dialed the number and then hung it up, and dialed the number and hung it up 5 times before I finally let it ring through. And then he answered the phone, and I was like, Chuck? I could barely, once we got going, it was fine. But in the beginning, I was a fucking wreck trying to talk to this dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's an amazing pick, and that's an amazing cover. I fucked up. I got extras here. So
no, go for it.
But these are both going to be giveaways, and I'll do them real quick here. we just discussed earlier with your Daredevil pick, and then how I loved Reborn going into the Mark Waid run, and I found these in there, and I have these, but we're going to do a giveaway with these. This is issue 1, and this is a fucking great issue, and I love how they did the cover with, you know, this cityscape and all the sounds, the way that, you know, Daredevil may fucking hear it. This has got Paolo Rivera art, which is fantastic. I mean, like, you know, like seeing this like radar style scene, you know, but this was like a lot of fun because it was like Daredevil had gotten so heavy and so, you know, like everything was the worst, and Daredevil was just being, you know, beat on and beat on and beat on. And then this became like a really like, you know, I mean, look at this.
It's a good like swashbuckling superhero.
Yeah, this is like
story,
just like a fun superhero comic, you know, like. And I remember reading an interview. Yeah, and here's some more of that like wonderful like doing the like radar sense and all the sounds written in. I mean, it's just genius way to display it. But yeah, I remember reading like an interview with Mark Waid that said he was like, you know what, I just wanted to do something lighter, and like he was like, Daredevil has taken enough abuse, it was time. And so I grabbed issue 1, but I also grabbed this little. This is 2 issues. What could be more fun than Daredevil fighting alongside
Legion of Monsters?
Right. I mean, fucking come on. So we're going to do this as like, this will be a giveaway. All 3 issues, you get issue 1, and we'll go ahead and throw these 2 in. And these are Chris Samney art, which is also fucking beautiful. I mean, and so this is part of a larger story. What's the Sons of the Serpent and the Jester. And it's also a really fun story. So if you get this and you dig it, I would get the issues around it and finish it off. But yeah, this is super fun. And then
where we're talking about,
that was why I grabbed these. These, you know, during the time that Matt Murdock, you know, left to do, and they did Daredevil Reborn to kind of go, you know, like figure himself out. At the same time, Black Panther wanted to prove to himself, you know, who he was, and not as the king of Wakanda, but as an average man. So he is managing a restaurant in Hell's Kitchen and sitting in for Daredevil fighting crime, and it is an incredible fucking story. And I grabbed these 3 issues because the Francavilla art is just unbelievable, and you've got Hate Monger in these. And it's just like, again, these are, you know, the art in these is fucking phenomenal. It just, I mean, yeah, like that right there. So, yeah, this to me would be the greatest Black Panther story that there is. You know, and so we have 2 issues. And then I went ahead and grabbed also Francavilla, the Black Panther Spider Island. Just because this is, if you get the collected version of you know, Black Panther Man Without Fear, this comes with it, and it's just like, this is another like batshit fucking comic. Like I love the way the panels are divvied up and like spider webs, and like, I mean, the art's magnificent. So this will be the other giveaway we're gonna do, where we'll go ahead and throw in all 3 of these Black Panther issues. Again, I have no idea what this giveaway is. Joel's doing it. So, Joel over there.
Who knows?
Yeah. Whatever Joel decides is how we're rolling. So, Joel will make up a reason that you get that comic. So, well, that's it. We're out of comics.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming down and doing
thank
this.
you. Yeah, it's fucking
It was super fun. And thanks always for carrying our magazine at Acme.
For
we
sure.
Fucking love your store.
Yo, it's, with magazines, unbelievable.
Thank you.
It has been, you know, like you said, skateboarding. It's all of those things finally coexisting.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
what
it is. That was the goal, is to just put all the weird shit we love in one spot.
For sure.
And again, you know, you get it from us, get it from Acme Comics, get it from Ben directly, but Children of the Grave, all 5 issues are now out, and you can get them all, and it's fucking phenomenal. So,
thank you, man.
Thanks again.
Yeah. Thank you.